Hi, everyone. Welcome to Food Farms and Chefs. And I would love to introduce you to if you're watching on YouTube, you can see his puppy has joined him as well. But one of the restaurateurs that are located in Philly, Terrell Barkley, who is the owner of Barkley BBQ in Philadelphia. Terrell, thank you for joining me on Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone.
And I
And
mean, you're not going to hear them say hello back, but I will say hello back to you on behalf of all of them.
that's all good.
So, what did you used to do prior to opening up your Barkley barbecue?
I was a tractor trailer driver for 15 years, and I did a little small auto mechanics at a garage part time for some years, and until I had a real nasty injury in 2006, and broke my ankle. My bone almost came through. My foot spun around, and I literally got 6 surgeries in less than 5 years, including a full ankle replacement.
Wow. So you're a bionic man now.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. But I'm
Um,
thankful I can still walk. I just can't run a play tennis no more. I can't run from my wife. I just surrender.
well, we're not going to get into that, but but so you went from being a truck driver to uh, how did you actually get into this business?
um, I used to come home and I always liked to grill for years, and I would start cooking just dinner for me and the family, and I might see some little kids in the neighborhood or something like that. They would hung out, go to the store for me or stuff like that. To take them fishing, and they smell that food. They always offer them some, and the next thing you know, some of the parents would actually like, where you getting that food from? They call me Uncle Tank, a lot of the kids and stuff in the neighborhood. And next thing I know, I started meeting parents, and they started coming around. And next thing you know, I'm just feeding people on a regular basis. It was just something to do. Felt good. You know what I mean? Neighbors that I never even knew, people in the neighborhood. But it's funny, I knew the kids, or the kids knew me, but didn't know the parents and stuff. So after my injury, then I had a buddy of mine had the restaurant for over 22 years. It was called 29th Street Grill, Brewery Town at the time. And he basically brought it because he didn't want his daughters going through the public school system. And he brought it so that he can send them to private school. And then they graduated and I think one wound up going to medical school and graduated, went to work for Johns Hopkins. And at that point, his wife said, it's time for the two of them to have a life, because for 22 years they just struggled and worked hard to take care of their children and to make
Yes.
sure that they got Moki. You're hitting Daddy's iPad. I'm going through something here. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I
But
mean,
yeah,
that's what makes it live.
yeah, right. She just wants some attention here. But so yeah. Anyway, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and accepted. And I wound up just having that little restaurant back in 2014. I think it was like the spring of 2014 when I purchased it. But I had to do some other work to it, get it up and running. And it started off slow. It was kind of hard for a while. And one day in 2015, it just opened up, exploded, and folks knew who I was. And people were coming from everywhere. I was shocked where people were coming from,
Yeah.
just to get my food. I never saw it like that. I just figured, hey, I just need to make some extra money so I can pay some bills. I can't work no longer because of my injury, wouldn't allow me to drive tractor trailer anymore. And like I said, I would work on cars also. But after those injuries and always being on crutches and a total ankle replacement, taking almost 19 months to learn how to walk all over again, it's pretty tough. And food being my passion, and I got the restaurant. I would do little things before that for people, like cook for family reunions and things of that nature. I've even done a couple weddings, just little small stuff for friends. Or someone recommended me to come and do a big event when the kids would graduate from high school and go to college. A lot of the parents would get together and do a little celebration thing for them. And like a trunk party also, all combined in one. And they would always hire me to come and cook for it. And people would say, "Look, man, you really need to get you a place." And I never saw it. I never saw myself actually being where I'm at now.
Hmm.
But I'm so thankful because I've got a chance to meet so many great and wonderful people out here. I love traveling and just having folks come and just talk to me about my flavors or telling me that this and what they cook with, and just sharing the different cooking experiences. I really love it.
So I'm gonna, assume that you're self-taught because it sounds like, you basically became the neighborhood, cook.
Yep, that's
And
pretty much what it was.
and then it was kind of like a kismet, situation where, one hand was like, "Hey, you're cooking for your neighborhood and becoming more and more popular." And, basically making a name and a brand for yourself in doing so. And then, on the other hand, you have somebody who has a location that they offered you up. So you kind of walked into almost like the perfect predicament.
Yep, yep. It was such a blessing the way that things were coming together, and I came from a very spiritual family, and it was always never lose your faith in God. So that's where I keep it at, even to this day. I don't take credit for nothing. I give it all to the Almighty, first and foremost. Without Him, I'm nothing. And so many doors kept opening up. And I just kept praying, even when things were hard, because restaurant business isn't as smooth as people may think. So I just want to say big ups to all of the chefs and line cooks and people that's in the restaurant industry, our hosts and hostesses and bartenders and barmaids. I mean, even our porters and stuff like that. I mean, it's not easy to satisfy large groups of people. American people are some of the, excuse me, but selfish and not so easily to satisfy groups of people in the world.
Yeah.
And people want their food to be right. And they want it to be right every single time. If you give them a masterpiece that one time and you made a mistake at doing that masterpiece, the next time they come, you can't figure out what you did, or they're going to let you know.
Yeah, they will. That is very true. It is definitely because there's so many different platforms too where people can comment on the food that you create, but you are correct in that in the food industry and the hospitality industry, if you are not consistent with what you create, people will shout it out.
They will. And I'll tell you, I take all constructive criticism, I take it to heart. When someone tells me that, I made a mistake with this, or this didn't taste right, or this was like this, well, I accept that.
Yeah.
I want people to talk to me and let me know the mistakes I'm making. If they don't tell me, then how can I correct them and make things better?
Yeah.
So, but I think I'm really thankful. I don't get a lot of complaints, but I will get some here and there, and I'm just thankful I'm not constantly, you know, getting threatened. Hey man, your food was nasty. This people get crazy over food. They really do.
They do. Now I want to also mention the fact that you have a food truck too.
Yes. That came about because it was at a cigar club over in New Jersey, and it was with this motorcycle club, um, and they raised monies to give to. It was like a charity event,
Mhm.
and they actually hired me to provide the food for the charity event. Folks loved the food so much, they wanted me to come to different places and like, are you mobile? I'm like, no, I'm not mobile. And I remember someone saying, look, I'll give you $2,500 to come do my daughter's sweet 16 parties. Probably be less than 50 people. I'm like, what? $2,500? I think it was like 2 hours or something like that. That's my phone. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. I was
But
like,
no, that's my phone. I forgot to turn it off. I'm so sorry.
no,
But
you're
yeah, it opened up my eyes to things. I'm like, wow. And then I started talking with other people. I started going to different food truck events and things like that and festivals. And tasting a lot of the different cuisines that were out here,
Yeah.
and also looking at the prices that people were charging. And I said, wow, these folks are charging top dollar, but not really giving people too much. It's like little small portions, but they had 30, 40, 50 people in line. And I mean, they were just buying and buying. I'm like, wow, most of these folks don't even know that some of this food really doesn't taste too good either. But you just look at them; they were eating us. So I said, okay, this is event. You know, they had beer gardens and things going. So I said, yeah, well, maybe folks had enough beers in them where they got the munchies or whatever, and they just figured, well, as long as they got something in their mouth, even if it was a cracker, it probably tastes like a steak. But yeah, we built a food truck, and that just exploded. We didn't expect it to be that way. I built a very large truck
Mm,
with a double door refrigerator, 3 deep fryers, flat iron grill, 3 foot char grill, 4 burner stove.
that is a big truck.
And and after a while, I wound up taking a big grill that I had. It's about 3.5 feet by 5 feet long. And I got a trailer and had it, mounted onto the trailer. I started pulling that behind the food truck. So I'm literally smoking and cooking everything right in front of your face.
Oh, nice.
It got so big where I couldn't keep up with just that one grill any longer. So I had to go get a 12-foot trailer, put 2 big cookers on top of that, and still sometimes I can't keep up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then I came across another grill, which is built onto a trailer that's 8 feet by 5.5 feet. Stands about 5.5 feet tall, 5.5 feet wide, 8 feet long. We call that one Big Papa. When that comes out, we're coming out to handle some business. That's 700-800 pounds of meat at one
Wow.
time. Yeah, it's
That's
a
a
serious. It's a
commitment.
series. Yeah, it's serious. It's serious. It takes like 2 of us just to run that grill because it's got doors on both sides. And also along the way with that, I built an 18-foot concession trailer that I'm going to be bringing back out this year. Didn't really run too much due to COVID the last couple of years, but we're ready to rock and roll now.
Yeah, I mean, because everything's opening up. We're having concerts. I know the there's a concert coming up in Philly that everybody's gearing up for. And there's so much happening because once the weather gets warmer, it's gonna blow up. And the fact that you're offering something that is, unique and flavorful and just you're self-taught. But let's jump into actually some of the stuff that you do make. So talk about, you know, what's your process, especially when you're, building up to offer on-site large quantities of food when you bring out Big Papa. What,
Well, it starts like 2 or 3 days ahead of time. And I basically go to a distribution center with my pickup truck, and they literally drop skids of meat on the back of my pickup truck that are probably 2 and 3 thousand pounds, sometimes heavier. And we go back, we unload everything, and it might be 2, 3 of us, maybe 4, and we just start unpackaging, cleaning, and going through every single piece of meat that's coming off before we even season it. We're trimming, we're washing off whatever we have to do, and then we just start piling up the refrigerators and the freezers until like the morning of the event, or sometimes we'll pre-cook. It depends on what I'm going to have on the menu. Like on a regular, I always got barbecue ribs, barbecue chicken. I do a beef brisket and a pulled pork. I'll do them from anywhere from 10 to 14 hours. And I don't do everything like everybody else does. I mean, not saying what they do I don't like. It's just I have my own preference of how I cook. And I don't like to sit there slicing off a beef brisket, try to feed 400 or 500 people.
yeah.
That's just too much. Plus, sometimes if you don't prepare it right, the meat's tough. So what I always done, I put my brisket inside of a pan and let it slow cook until the point where you could just take a fork or spoon and just go into it, or some tongs and just pull the meat right apart. So it's more like pulled beef or pulled brisket.
Yeah.
It's not the traditional slice kind. And those are pretty much my basic four meats. I do other things also, but my some of my main sides is my 5 to 6 cheese baked macaroni and cheese. We go through a ton of it, and when we run out, people literally cuss at us, especially the old women. Oh my God, they get so mad when we run out of mac and cheese. And I do like big giant pots of like fresh collard greens with smoked turkey in it. I do a candy yam and apples.
Hmm.
I got my Nana's recipe for potato salad, and we'll put that together sometime. That doesn't last long. Folks want you to make it every day, but it's a big process trying to make 50, 75, 100 pounds of potato salad.
That's a lot of peeling.
It's a lot of peeling. And with the price of eggs right now, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, eggs are out like people made jokes of like I'm gonna buy you something super expensive for Valentine's Day, and they were showing like cartons of eggs. So yeah, it's very it's a
Wow.
running gag in the foodie world, but we are going to quickly run out of time actually because we're having
Oh,
so much fun talking. Um,
oh wow.
I'm gonna ask you, what is one of your favorite items, outside of obviously like the meat, because we all love meat, at least, Gene and I. But I know that there are vegetarians out there, but what are some of your, go-to, like, do you offer platters?
Yes, we offer platters, and we always give a person a protein and 2 sides. And one of my specialties, a recipe I came up with, is my homemade coleslaw. We call it Southern Slaw, and I make that with fresh apples and dried cranberries.
Oh, nice.
And then my other little tricks that I put up in there. It's got a sweetness to it. It's not the old style salt and pepper with vinegar. This one is totally different. It has a different pop to it. And another thing I've been working with is my baked beans. I don't do a traditional like a pork and bean. I
Mhm.
actually do a brisket baked bean. So the brisket that I smoke down until it pulls apart, I mix that up with my baked beans and I add my other little flavors to it and things of that nature. And we sell a lot of
I would assume so. You put brisket in anything and it
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's
exactly.
it. It makes it pop no matter what you do.
Now, believe it or not, we actually ran out of time that quickly because we were having so much fun talking. So, where can people find you online, and do you cater, and how do they get in contact with you?
Yes, good questions. Yes, we do cater. We do a lot of it. Just scheduled a big wedding, come to think of it. And they can find me on Barkley's BBQ, LLC at gmail.com, or they can go on Facebook or Instagram and put in Barkley's BBQ. You can always send me messages that way. And we come to you. We come directly to you, and we aim to please.
All right, Terrell, thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs.
Thanks for having me. Awesome, awesome for you to invite me to this. I so appreciate you, girl. And listen, I don't know if you're in the area or not, but I'm at Gloucester Premium Outlets a whole lot in New Jersey.
Okay.
Uh, don't know if you get there, but follow me. If you find me, come on, let me treat you to a meal.
I would love that. I love barbecue. I love eating. I'm one of those people where like people will sit and watch me because I'm so expressive facially. So I would love to do that.
Yeah, you gotta come so I could take some nice pictures with you while you're eating and post them up. I
Of
love people that loves to enjoy food.
of course. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs. Everybody go check him out. And if you need to cater something, contact Terrell. Ep-
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much. And
Thank you very much. You take care, right?
yep. And we will be right back after this short break.
All right.
Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I would love to introduce you to Nicole Jackson, who is the GM of BurgerFi in Cherry Hill. Nicole, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
No problem. So I know that the owner, Matt, is, a committed entrepreneur, and he opened up the BurgerFi after having also owned previous businesses, which I did do a little research, so you don't need to like remember all of them. But you know, BurgerFi is one of the franchises that are across the US, and they offer a lot of delicious meals. But how did you get started in the restaurant business?
Wow. It goes back quite a while. I started actually as a hostess, and then I just kind of worked my way up the, industry food chain. I went into waitressing for a little bit and then kind of transitioned into bartending. And then my OCD and craziness got the best of me, and they were like, "Hey, you want to be the bar manager? You're good at this inventory thing and making sure everything's good to go." So I then became a bar manager, went up to a restaurant manager, and then eventually GM. And then I kind of segued actually completely out of the food industry because I have a daughter. She's 2. And this restaurant industry, it just takes up a lot of time. So I was like, I just need a normal job where I can go work 9 to 5, which led me into the mortgage industry. And we all know how that's going right
Yeah.
now. So actually a friend of mine was an investor for Matt into BurgerFi. And he's like, hey, we need managers if you're interested. And I was like, yes. And I came on as an assistant manager, and then within about, I would say, a month, I was promoted to GM, and now here we are.
Nice. So, when have you been there like ever since its inception?
No, so we opened. Well, I didn't open here with them, but they opened September 24th of 2022. I didn't start until November 2nd, so they were here for about like a month and a half ish.
Gotcha. So, as far as the menu is concerned, what are some of the menu items that you offer, and the value that people can get when they come into BurgerFi?
We have 2 of our biggest sellers, and in my opinion, one of our best sandwiches that we have, the burgers, is the CEO and the swag, which is spicy. The CEO is more sweet. It has a truffle aioli on it, but they're made with Wagyu beef, which ours isn't strictly pure Wagyu. It's a Wagyu and an Angus blend, but you can definitely taste the difference and the quality of that meat compared to, any other burger chain, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So those are like our 2 hot items. They're our biggest sellers. They're just so good. You could just taste the freshness and the quality in all of the ingredients.
And I mean, Wagyu beef is so expensive and it's hard to come by. You can like for our listeners out there, if you don't know this in the industry, you can only purchase a certain amount of Wagyu beef because it is so hard to come by. And I
Mhm.
know America, like we are trying to come up and build a Wagyu empire, because
Mhm.
part of what Wagyu beef is just a very like no pun intended, but a very fat cow.
Yes.
Because it's infused with so much fat, and fat is where you get all the flavor. Um,
Mhm.
so it's a commitment that it takes a long time to build, and that's why it's so hard for us to get it imported, because they've are like where we import it from, which I believe is Japan.
Mhm. Yes, that's
uh,
correct.
is, very like regimented on how much they actually allow out. And they will monitor if you come in, they will make sure that if, that you're not pulling a cat, like pulling, the ability to utilize the makings of
Yes.
their cattle, because they want to make sure that they have, the market on this. So it makes sense that they're trying to prevent, the other countries from producing this, because they are making so much money off of that. But
Oh, yeah.
that was a long-winded version of explaining like why it makes a difference on the burger that you're eating.
Yes.
So, um so, the like moving forward, like obviously, you want the highest quality ingredients. And I know that you bring in steroid-free, hormone-free
Mhm.
beef. What else do you offer on your menu?
We actually have um, Wagyu beef hot dogs. Those are a big hit. Yes, I was very like, whoa, what is this when I first started? I never even heard of it. And it's actually really good. So we have a couple different kinds of style hot dogs you can get. Our custard, oh my gosh, talk about having a problem working in this restaurant when the custard is as good as it is. Trying to not have a milkshake every day is really hard. And then we also have vegan options, veggie options. Our BurgerFi burger is, I'm not a vegetarian, but I will choose that over a lot of other things now because it's just so good. Like you don't even realize that you're eating a veggie burger.
Yeah.
The chicken's amazing. We do offer like a green style buns, so lettuce cups, and we now are offering gluten-free buns, which we just started doing 2 weeks ago, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because and gluten-free is like definitely a big swing on the trend. And, obviously there's a lot of people out there where they're vegetarians, they have dietary issues. So
Mhm.
it's great that you're offering that too. Now, when you say that you do that, do you also cook on a flat top that is separate so that you keep, because I know there are vegans that are hardcore, like all about making sure that everything's separate.
Yes. We actually have separate utensils, a whole separate part of the grill is actually blocked off, and we use that specifically for the impossible meat, like the vegan burgers, the beyond burgers, and anybody who might have some type of allergy or some type of intolerance. We clean it separately with different, its own utensils. We don't cross contaminate. We're very, very detailed and pay a lot of close attention to that. For we get a lot of dietary restrictions. I don't know if it's just at our location or if it's company wide, but we do get a lot of dietary restrictions. So we make sure to keep up with that, and we're really excited to offer that gluten-free bun now. Finally.
Yeah. Now, I want to move into the fact that you have beer batter fries. I feel like that they were very popular for a long period of time, and then I don't know if it's just the processes, because I'm not in the line, obviously.
Mhm.
I'm a self-taught home cook. I'm not gonna say chef because I'm self-taught, but, I've created recipes and in all different kinds of aspects, and, I've bounced ideas off at, actual chefs that at restaurants and whatnot, and
Mhm.
some of them have committed to some of the ideas that I've had, some of them not, but it's fine. But beer battered fries are like, I'm tying it back around, are something that I've never, had a hand in. I don't know how to make them. I'm sure it's probably something simple, but you guys offer that. And I have to say, out of all the fries that people offer, beer battered are my favorite.
Oh, same. It's so simple. It's just three ingredients, and sadly, I believe we're the one of the only locations, if not there's just a few of them, that we don't carry beer in our location.
I know.
Sadly, I'm like, oh, everybody comes in because we used to have advertisements, and there's they're like, oh, a draft beer and a burger for X amount of dollars for the promotion. And I'm like, oh, we don't have beer. I'm sorry. And they're like, dang it. So in our location, our beer batter actually doesn't have beer in it, but I will tell you, they taste exactly the same. Believe it or not.
Hmm.
We use unflavored seltzer water in place of
Nice. So
beer.
you get
Yes.
the carbonation and
And it's just our homemade seasoned flour that we make on site and cornstarch. That's it.
nice.
Mhm. Don't tell anyone I'm telling you our recipes.
No, you're not airing it anywhere. But, off of that, you also offer, like, what is it? A cry and fry or something
A
too?
cry and fry, yes. 3 onion rings and fries.
And I think that's a brilliant, combo because I know, like, sometimes there are you go to a fast food restaurant and you have to choose, like, "Do I want this or do I want that?" Like, you
Mhm.
actually make it easy, so if somebody is being, like, commitment phobe to whether or not they want onion rings, they don't have to necessarily purchase an entire, like, another side in
Right.
order to, get scratch that craving.
Mhm.
So I applaud you for being able to do that.
Well, thank you.
I will also mention the fact that you are one of the only fast casual restaurants that I know of that has a breakfast burger.
Yes, our breakfast all day. So in store, we call it, like behind the line, we call it the bad burger. So it's funny because customers will look at us like, what is a bad burger? And it just means breakfast all day.
That's funny.
Yes, it has a fried egg on it. It has a hash brown and everything we make from scratch in store. So the hash browns are made daily. We make them those daily. Obviously the fried eggs we have. We crack the egg right on the flat top grill. So it's not like nothing that we have is pre-made. Everything is from scratch and as fresh as we can possibly get it.
Which is good. Sorry, I have to take a drink of water, but
Oh, same.
I know. Now, but speaking of drinking, you also offer milkshakes.
Yes. Oh, they're so good. The banana churro milkshake. Mm.
I was eyeing that up because it looks really pretty.
You have to try it. Even if you don't like it, you just have to just sip it one time because there's nothing else I've ever had that tastes like that. It's so good.
I mean, it's okay. So I have a lot of friends that don't like bananas, so it might not be
Mm.
something for them per se, but
Hmm.
I love bananas. I always have. So to me, the combination of having a banana with that cinnamon sugar, and I'm assuming it's also a vanilla base of ice cream. It's just kind of like that perfect dessert because it just puts you in that happy place. I don't know anybody that doesn't love the combination of cinnamon and vanilla because think
Hmm.
about that. It's basically like a sticky bun.
Yes.
Add banana to it and it adds that, additional sweetness because it's the natural sweetness, but also it's just takes it to another level.
It makes you salivate. Oh my God, it's so delicious.
Now, can you customize like any of your items?
Yep. Yep. I actually, when I get it, I'm like, can I have an extra banana in it? Because I love banana that much. It's so good. But I mean, we have a uh, um hello brain fart mocha coffee shake,
Mhm.
and we get a lot of people who put Oreos in it. Oh God, that's so good too. So yes, all of our concretes and our milkshake you can custom make with anything we have on the menu.
Yeah. So, okay. So the concretes, because I know some other companies that have something similar, but do you want to explain to our listeners what exactly concretes are?
So they are it's layered custard and toppings. So for instance, our caramel fudge brownie one is just caramel layered with chocolate chips, um, caramel syrup, and brownie bites. And then it's layered again, almost like a lasagna.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good. So we have a couple of different of those too.
Now, one of the things that a lot of owners of franchises do is they actually, help give back to the community. And, so I'm just wondering, what are some of the things that you guys have committed over the short period of time that you've been open to your community?
So we've had about three fundraisers, I believe, so far. For the both Cherry Hill high schools have come in, the PTAs have done fundraisers. We just did a soccer one. We actually just like donated to the Cherry Hill West theater group their playbill. So we have like a little ad in there, and that helps, their program and stuff. But the kids come in all the time. They're always asking to do fundraisers. We have, I think, 10 of them lined up so far this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We love doing them.
That's very good that you're doing that. Now, say that I want to throw a party because obviously, at Cherry Hill, you have an abundance of families with, loose income, we'll say. It's a very good socioeconomic area.
Yes.
And so, what do you offer party packages or anything like that for parents that are looking to, have a birthday party for their young kid?
So at this time, right now, we do not. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There will be like catering and stuff coming in the very near future. But as of today, at this moment, we do not. But that is something that we have been getting feedback for. There have been even just any kind of event. gatherings, whatever have you. So corporate has been listening, thankfully. Because there's certain things we can and can't do being a franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is coming soon.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So outside of just that, do we have anything else that we can look forward to? Is Matt planning to expand?
I know he would love to. We have talked, like, I think back to my interview, we had talked about him opening a couple more locations and where we could see me going through with that as well. We had a little bit of a rough start opening, as most businesses do in the very beginning. You run into some hiccups. But now things are moving super, super smoothly. We have a great staff here. So I do believe that Matt will be, crossing our fingers, opening more locations.
Well, when he does, he can feel free to reach out and we will bring him on to celebrate with him.
Oh, awesome. I'll definitely tell him.
Yes, because we love celebrating and we love food. I mean, come on. And who doesn't love a good burger?
Right?
Burgers are the best. So, unfortunately, we are coming down to the end of our hour or our time frame with you. So where can, before I let you go, are there any specials that you're currently running?
So right now we have the barbecue rodeo burger. And that is only here until April 17th. And it has haystack onions, which are like those Funyuns, those real
The like
fine
thick ones. Yeah.
Yes, that are fried in goodness. And they're put in our beer batter as well. So we have that with sweet Memphis barbecue sauce. Oh my gosh, it's so good on a double burger. That's running right now. Starting March 7th, we have the mint Oreo shake coming. So it tastes like mint chocolate chip. That's absolutely delicious too. And then we have, if you're a loyalty rewards member, we have a secret menu out right now. So there's specific things you can only get if you're a rewards member, which I'll tell you, as a patty melt, it tastes just like a cheesesteak. It is so good.
Oh, nice.
And a Neapolitan shake. Yes.
Nice. So for our listeners out there, where can they find you online and where can they find you in person?
Well, you can come right to the store. We're at 1584 Kings Highway in Cherry Hill. And then you can go actually right online to BurgerFi.com. Just search for our location. We're the only one in Southern New Jersey. So we'll be super easy to find on there. And you can actually order online as well through there too, if you wanted to do an online order and pick up in store.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole. And everyone, go check out your local BurgerFi. Hopefully you also have beer on tap because that makes it even more fun. But Cherry Hill is also amazing. So thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day, guys.
You too.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I have the honor to introduce to you Vanessa Jackson, who is one of the co-owners currently of the Cheesecake Lady. So welcome to Food Farms and Chefs, Vanessa.
Thank you for having us. We are just delighted that you selected us.
Of course. I mean, who doesn't love cheesecake?
Well, people either love it or hate it. I found that there's no in between.
Yeah, I feel like there's people, the people that are in the wrong that don't like the heavy cream. I can understand it if they're allergic to dairy, but I'm sure that there's dairy options to like alternatives. But cheesecake is just so like it brings you so much joy.
Right. It's actually the #1 dessert in the United States, which I always thought it was apple pie based on the Chevrolet commercials. But I found that the reason people don't like it is because they don't like the twang of the sour cream. Because I like to ask people why they think they don't like it. But I found with a good vanilla, you can get rid of that twang.
Gotcha. Oh, now I've made numerous cheesecakes in my time. I don't think I recall ever utilizing sour cream. I know I use cream cheese.
Yes, the sour cream is definitely one of the ingredients.
I know I'm like, it's been a while since I've made one. So I'm like, am I just misremembering?
Well, I'm sure some people do like the no-bake ones too, and maybe they don't have sour cream, but a really good cheesecake has sour cream.
Yeah. So before we actually get further into it, you actually started this business out without at a young age. You're still young, but at a young age, you hadn't had a bite of cheesecake.
I hadn't had a bite. I had never tasted. I want to say I didn't hear of it, but that sounds so bad to say. But I don't really think I knew what cheesecake was. But I definitely hadn't tasted it until I was 34.
Yeah, I can't fathom the idea of like not having tasted cheesecake until 34. But I mean, how many people did it take to get you to actually take that first bite?
Well, first of all, my mom didn't eat cheesecake, and typically you don't eat what your parents don't eat
That-
because they don't feed it to you. But there were about 15 people at a Christmas luncheon, a work luncheon, and everybody ordered cheesecake for dessert except for me. And then my boss was like, "Oh, you always have to be so difficult. Why did you order a brownie?" And I said, "Oh, because cheese and a cake, that sounds reprehensible." Like, and so they were like, "You never had cheesecake?" And I'm like, "No." And so everybody's like, "Oh my God, you got to try it." And so when I tried it, oh my God, I fell in love with it. And so next thing I know, every Sunday I'm driving up to this restaurant to buy this cheesecake. And
Mhm.
so having 3 kids who also wanted cheesecake, I was like, oh wait, I got to learn how to make cheesecake. So that's how it started.
So I know that you in that process you were I think on a specialty diet while you were learning to do that. So what
Yes.
was that like trying to tweak a cheesecake to commit? Because that's commitment.
That is commitment. So first of all, I was on low carb. It was the Atkins diet back then, and so I had like equal as the sugar. It really was bad. The taste was bad. The texture was bad because the sugar substitute breaks down the cream cheese. And so
Mhm.
I said, well, when I'm no longer on this diet, I'm going to try it with regular sugar.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And then I had an aunt, my favorite aunt, who loves sweets. And so I would make her this cheesecake every Sunday. And she didn't like it. She was like, it's all right, you know. And I just wanted more than making the good cheesecake. I wanted to please her, like, because, you know, I loved her and I just wanted her to like it.
Yeah.
And so that's how, you know, I came to make one every week for a few months before she caught me screaming uh my name over and over again with how good this cheesecake was.
That was your Aunt Ree, if I
It was
recall.
my, yes.
Yeah.
Her real name was Marita, but we called her Ree for short.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was her favorite cheesecake that you made after you got to that point?
Well, she loved Butterfingers and Paydays, so I would sometimes just put that on top of an original for her. I wasn't real fancy back then, you know, doing like all the toppings that we do now. I
Yeah.
basically did like an original, a caramel one, and then later, you know, I graduated to the sweet potato one at Thanksgiving, and then I had a boss because I did all of these like on the side, who said, "Can you make something with banana?" And that's how I started making the banana pudding one. And so
Yeah.
each flavor, you know, kind of evolves out of a story of somebody asking me something or my having dreams, because I still dream about cheesecake, believe it or not.
You know what would be really cool is doing because I was looking at your flavors and I don't think that you had this on there, but it would be kind of fun if you did a like creme brulee kind of version of cheesecake. So made like a caramel one and then put the sugar on top. And if you have a brulee,
Right.
firing that up and so people get the joy of like cracking it and eating it and tasting all that.
That's true. I'm sort of the type that who I only make what I like.
Oh,
And so I don't particularly like cream brulee, but our caramel walnut, besides the cracking of it, is taste wise similar to it. And
yeah.
those people who love cream brulee, they fall in love with our caramel with walnuts.
That's yeah, and I saw that you have a decent selection as far as, peanut because I love peanut butter. Like,
Yes.
really love peanut butter. So I saw that you have, some peanut butter options as well. Like I believe it was like a chocolate peanut butter one. And as you had mentioned Butterfingers, so obviously you
Yes, we
get
don't
that.
actually sell the Butterfingers one, but we do have the Reese's peanut butter one as our peanut butter one, and then sometimes we'll just do like some outrageous flavors and put like peanut butter in the center. This week, I actually got out of my comfort zone. I do not like coconut at all,
Oh,
but
really?
everyone has been asking, so we rolled out 2 coconut cakes this week, and they were a huge success. So we will be keeping them on the menu. I personally didn't taste it once it had the coconut, but prior to the coconut, I tasted it and it was so good. So for those people who like coconut, we now have 2 options on our menu.
That's good for them. And maybe good for you because then you're not eating it.
Well, that's true too. That's true. But I still eat them. I still love them. I still have to talk myself down. Like you're not getting any today. Like, no, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So you're not like, I just have to taste a little bit of this one to see.
Well, this week I tasted a little bit of the vanilla cake one because I wanted to see what the vanilla cake with vanilla icing tasted like because I knew that the coconut vanilla was going to evolve from that.
Yeah.
And I must say that has now become my number 2 favorite.
And it's also like, well, I have to taste it, twist my arm.
Yes, right. Well, sometimes I get some of the other staff people to taste it. Like if I'm really like trying to watch that week what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before long, I normally taste the batter at least
Yeah.
of all the cheesecake that I'm making.
I mean, I can't blame you there because I would have a very hard time resisting the urge to taste everything.
I do have, believe it or not, some flavors that I have never ever tried. But I mean, that being said, I don't like eggnog. We make an eggnog one over the holiday, but when my daughter tasted it the first time, she started slapping the wall. So I knew that it was good. And then
Yeah.
everything starts from our original batter cheesecake. So, you can't go wrong with that. And so just adding on to it, I think anything we would put in it would come out okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we've touched base on, some of the flavors that you brought about, but when did you actually start the business?
Well, officially, I started the business in 2013 and we opened our first storefront in 2014. So I thought this was our 10-year anniversary being open, but we're going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary next year. I got the LLC in 2008, just so that I could, do some things with some other businesses, some companies, but I didn't have like a storefront or, a full-fledged, full-time business until we opened our doors in 2014.
Okay. So it's been a while that you guys have been open and is that in both locations or was Elkins Park your first one?
So Jenkintown was our first location in 2014, and then we moved to Elkins Park in 2018, and we opened in Virginia last year. So March will be our first year here in Virginia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, every time I mention the Cheesecake Lady, it seems like everybody knows you. So, like, unfortunately, I have the misfortune of not having tried your cheesecakes, but I definitely have to remedy that because,
Yes.
yeah, I love cheesecake. So I don't know why I haven't actually been able to get myself over there yet.
Well, normally when we're on a show, we bring cheesecake. So perhaps we can find a way to bring you guys some.
I mean, I will not say no to that. And I'm sure all the studio people would love that one too. That we work with. But so all right. So what is your top favorite flavor?
So for me, it's the strawberry shortcake.
Okay. Now, out of curiosity, because I know that you have 4-pack minis or 4-inch
Six
minis,
pack.
sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
4 inch.
6-pack.
They're really almost 5 inches, but um so you really don't want to say 4 3/4, and we really should say 5 inches. But then when you say 5 inches, people really expect them to be bigger. So we say 4 inches, but they're really 4 3/4 inches.
Hey, listen, if you're saying 4 and they're 4 3/4, that's probably going to make your people happier.
Yes, I thought that too.
Yeah, that was a smart move on your part.
Thank you.
Now, are those minis your 6-pack baby cakes too? Or,
No, so those are 2 inches, 2 by 2, the six
okay.
pack. So they're a lot smaller. They're like little poppers. I think you can get like 3 or 4 bites out of them, but I have seen some people open them up in my store and just throw the whole thing in their mouth.
That would probably be me. No shame. I just But so do you do full cakes as well?
I do not. We started out doing full cakes, and they just take so long to make. I mean, over 2 hours for one cake. And by the time we did that, we discovered we could do like 128 of the 4 inch ones. And so it just didn't make sense, the return on investment,
Yeah.
to sit up there doing, 2 hours for one cake and 4 cakes at a time.
Yeah, it is a lot. Um, and you'd probably have to have a much larger kitchen because you'd have to have more, enough ovens and whatnot to cater to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but speaking of catering, obviously you're a popular place. So do you
Mhm.
offer catering options too?
We don't. After COVID hit, we really scaled back a lot of the things we were doing. We realized that, well, first of all, life was short and not promised, and secondly, that we had to think smarter, of how we could, still make a decent living and have a work-life balance for ourselves and our staff. And so we decided to cut out all of the ordering, um, and then just the demand once we closed and reopened with the lines down the street, it helped us do what we had already decided we were going to do anyway, just not being able to meet all of the demand, and forcing us to close, to sell out early.
Yeah.
So we were no longer putting in like 10-hour days, just having a 4-hour window to sell and sell out. We could really come in, bake, and prep and sell out and go home for once.
Yeah. Which is nice. Now,
Yes.
we are still in Black History Month, and I want to obviously like note that you are a Black
Yes.
woman-owned business. So what does it mean to you? Like, how much does it mean to you that not only did you open up this business, you also have committed or had your girls also co-own. So what does that mean to you in this month and just in general?
Right. So probably not much in this month, because I appreciate Black History Month, I think. But I feel like Black History Month for me is every month.
Yes.
But just being a minority, so they tell me, and a woman minority, which I don't know why that I struggle with language, but um it just means the world to me that my daughters are involved in the business, and my son was too. When we first started out, he used to draw my parchment paper circles and wash my dishes every weekend for $20, which was a lot of dishes, when I was doing this on the side. So I got to include my son too. But and then he's an electrician, certified electrician. So if something breaks, I get to call him up. So in some way, he's still involved, but to have my oldest daughter basically running the Philadelphia store single-handedly. We do switch off sometimes. Thank you. She, comes down to Virginia and run the Virginia store, and I'll come up to Philadelphia for a couple of weeks, at a time, or sometimes days, to run the Virginia store. And then my middle daughter, she was a lieutenant in the Navy, and that's how I got to Virginia, actually.
Oh,
So
nice.
she was stationed down here, and she bought a home down here, and she decided she wanted a cheesecake lady down here where she lived, and so I came down to help her open this second store. But it means
Nice.
the world to me, to have them to want to be a part of it. For years I was saying, I would sell it I'm gonna be a multi-millionaire and I'm gonna sell this business. But my oldest daughter, she really loves the business so much so that she says, Mama, you can't sell it. You can't sell it. And so, it means the world to be able to leave this legacy to her, for her to decide what she wants to do with it, and for her to let me retire one day and sit on the beach in Virginia and just send me checks. That's my goal.
And eat and cheese and some of the cheesecakes too.
Yes, of course.
So that way you're not baking them. You can just open them up and
Yes, although I did tell her I would always be here for her to help her, give her a hand if needed.
yeah. So given that, you obviously have grown, your brand has grown through your girls. Have you considered continuing that brand growth, or are you, okay, settled right now with just the two locations?
Well, we do have something that's in the works, which I was hoping before I came on the show that it was ready to announce, but it will be ready to announce shortly. So we are going to continue the brand, and we are expanding on the brand. We have something exciting in the works. Hopefully, we will be launching it next month. And
I was like, you're telling me because I'm like, now I want to dig and be like, are you gonna do ordering online? Are you shipping like
No,
nationwide?
we're not going to be shipping. We did do it. We did a couple ship tests in the last couple of weeks. And it's just not something I can't control the outcome, of how it arrives. So we know that how we put it in, the presentation is beautiful. And presentation is everything for me after the taste and the quality of the ingredients. And so, just how things arrive with the package is all banged up. And I mean, I love my delivery guys and all of that, but I see how they go on those trucks trying to find packages and they don't read those labels. They just
They
toss stuff
gotta just
around.
toss it around. Yeah.
And so to pre-package it would cost the consumer a fortune on top of the price of the cheesecakes to ship it. I mean, and so it's just not worth it at this time. So no, that's not it.
All right.
A lot of people ask us to franchise, and we're not quite there yet either. But we do have some exciting news coming up, and just ironing out some kinks right now. And I'm sure our East Coast people at least are going to be excited about it. But we do get a lot of people who travel to Philadelphia and Virginia for vacation, and then they stop through. So everybody will be excited to hear this news.
All right. We look forward to hearing it too. And let our listeners know where they can find you online and in person.
So our website is phillycheesecakelady.com. And then our Instagram is at Phila, Phila cheesecake. And then Norfolk area is 4214 East Little Creek Road. And then in the Elkins Park, PA area is 910 Township Line Road in Elkins Park.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on Food Firms and Chefs, Vanessa.
Oh, thank you for having us.
All right. And we look forward to all of our listeners tuning in. Try them out. Try everyone out, especially the cheesecakes, because and we will look forward to seeing you online and in person.
Thank you.
All right.